but you being involved in a lot yourself, and also just going right back to 1981. We've got a list provided by Alex. Now, I can tell you there's a lot of games back right then that I would never have seen.
We're doing this today?
Well, I think we are. I think we're going to go through it.
I thought he was going to put it on.
Grubby.
No, that's I've just been told it's just we're doing it here this afternoon.
I haven't done one.
Well, you can give me your number one.
Yeah, I'll have to. You go first. I have to think on it. I'll tell you what, I'll do. I'll tell you what. Don't worry about Alex with all his research. I'll try and do it straight off the top of my head.
Yep.
Right. I go back and I know today's footy's different, and I know you shouldn't judge it by punch-ons. But North Geelong and Anarchy, some of those grand finals, they were unbelievable to watch. And the rivalry there is unrivaled, I believe. You know, Jonesy running around breaking things up. Jonesy, of course, he would never start a fight.
Absolutely.
You know, I remember, I tell you, grabbed him by the throat and said, settle down, was Big Alex Wisak. You wouldn't want to be grabbed by him. I think it was Jeff Toten. I think he was almost carried off on a stretcher. And at the start, the one bloke that wasn't in it was Big Damage. He was standing in front with the goals, in the goal square with the ball. So that was a great rivalry. Obviously, the North Geelong Bellpost Hill, obviously they had the dynasty, the great Bellpost Hill dynasty, but North Geelong had them 3 times, I think, in that small period of time. They actually pinched one off them. They were able to get one off them, but Bellpost Hill were able to win. Well, I think they won about 7 out of 8. So they've got to be mentioned in every rivalry, everything you ever mention about finals. And that was a terrific, terrific rivalry. Compliments, I guess, had to go to Darren Ryan, Doggy Ryan. He got a side up, from North Geelong. He broke the sequence a little bit, but that was a great rivalry. Bannockburn Thompson was a great rivalry. They've played in 4 or 5 of them since the millennium and always been pretty good, tough, hard games. But I think my one for the millennium, and again, I'm being as biased as I can possibly be, but 5 years in a row, even though the first couple weren't quite in the millennium, but Bannockburn and Werribee Centrals from about, I think it was 98, 99, 2000, 2001.
Yep.
And I think Bannockburn were good enough to win the first 2. And then Werribee Centrals made a momentous decision and sacked me as president, and we won the next 3. But you know,
I always said you'd be holding them back, right?
Well, I must have been holding them back because they came out blokes like Festuca and Andrew Howlett coached them those 3 years. 3 years he coached for 3 flags. You can't get any better than that. Heath Buck was running around. Luke Luddick. They had some Simon Calvert. They had some great players. But I tell you what, Bannockburn had some great champion players there too. Big Endo was pretty good. There was a couple of Shaws running around doing damage. Troy Colliger, which I saw his kid's name on one of the team sheets. I don't know if he's playing today.
Yeah, he is. Young Dylan, yes.
That's his young bloke, is he? Well, I tell you what, if he's half as good as Nappies, he'll be a ripper for Bannockburn. I remember Clinton Shaw played the game of his life in one of them. It was a really great rivalry. The great Billy Caldo, the late great Billy Caldo, and I started up the King of the Highway Trophy, which still goes on today. And the rivalry on field is still very, very hot. Off field, again, like it should be, have a couple of beers with each other. The respect between those 2 teams were just unbelievable.
Yep. Well, that's what footy's about, isn't it? To play as hard as you like out on the ground, but once the siren's gone, that should be all done and dusted.
That's it, yep.
Walk inside and enjoy life.
Except for one year, the blue in the crowd. I won't mention the late Gary Robinson's name, poor old Gary, but he donged something. He donged Luke Luddick over the bench, and she was on for young and old. Spectators, I think the Bissets might have been in it.
And speaking of that, Linny was in during the week. She said to pass on her regards to you.
What a lovely lady.
And look out, as I said, the rain hadn't started before, but it's now starting to come down. Looks like it might be steady for a little while.
I think it adds to the contest, though, doesn't it? It just makes it's a good day for rough and tough footy, you know, in and under.
Well, we haven't seen too much of it, so it's...
it might be a bit more of a low-scoring game, but I don't mind it at all for the contest.
What it might take out of it is the Rattley's mark of the day. You know I've got to sing that out. So if some bloke in the last quarter, we haven't had one, takes the easiest chest mark of all time, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it. The mighty Rattley's Pies.
Righto, Archie, you can go into your
Yeah, Dale, I'll get through this pretty quickly. Number 5, I've got Corio vs North. Battle in the 90s. They played in 2 grand finals. Good rivalry there. Number 4, North Geelong versus Bellpost Hill. Played in 3 in a row, and North Geelong, of course, broke the run of Bellpost Hill's domination. Number 3, got Werribee versus Bannockburn. 5 in a row. It's quite an unbelievable feat there. Great rivalry. Number 2, Anarchy versus North Geelong. More for the the antics with the punch-ons, and obviously a big fight in the early 90s. And then my number 1, I got Thompson versus Bannockburn. Stems back to the early 90s. A Div 2 grand final it was. That started the
Div 2.
started the send-off rule. I'm sure you boys know about that. Thompson were 8 goals up, and a physical Bannockburn stormed up. Won the game easy. Thompson played them again in 96 at home against the powerful Bannockburn side on a muddy, wet ground at Godfrey Street, where Thompson controlled the ground and went up the following year to the Second Division Premiership. We also had 2003 grand final teams with 4 seasons in a 1 grand final 1 day.
We need some insulation on the roof.
Right away, huge. 2006, an undefeated Thompson prevailing, came champions. 2019, I think we all remember back to that grand final as well, where a fiery Bannockburn came home in the last quarter. I think Jarks had a huge last quarter and won the game for Bannockburn on that day, and Thompson were no doubt favourites. So, what about you, Smithy? What rivalries you got?
Before you start, Smithy, that send-off, when the send-off rule come in, was Alan Woodman running around in them days?
Oh, gee, I don't know. No, I don't think so.
No?
No, I think he got one of the Evans boys one day out at Geelong West there one day. I don't think he was sent off, though.
No, I thought that started it. I think he got more than one.
Yeah, well, he might have got one. The other one might have come in. He might have got the other one as well.
I don't know. I think about 7 went down, so they thought we better bring a send-off rule in.
Yeah, no, as I said, he probably... Well, I was listening to Lee Matthews the other night, and he was talking about having a send-off rule, like in that case where Brian Myers got back. And if they know he can't come back, he reckons that's a perfect opportunity to bring that red card back in and say, well, you're having 10 minutes as well. So I know the game has modernised a fair bit, but Lee's still back in my time, I reckon, so I don't mind that.
Well, you've got to get it right, though, because the bloke that whoever gets hit, he won't be able to come back on either.
No.
No matter what.
No.
Okay.
I haven't actually... I've got games or clubs that have played each other, and not particularly in relation to any particular one in particular, but I've listed the North Geelong Anarchy, North Geelong Cryo and Cryo Anarchy games in all finals. When you typify a day of Anzac Day, when it was all about war, these games were just that, as I said, and it's just amazing when you go back and think, between these three clubs in the same league, how many players have actually gone from one to the other to the other. I can't think of anyone else that's... Like, no one from Bannockburn would go to Inverleigh and play footy over there because of that rivalry and what it means to each other.
Upon, wasn't it?
But these 3 clubs, if you've seen the number of players that have gone from one to the other and back again, it's just absolutely amazing. I reckon it just throws me a bit. Werribee and Bannockburn, as you said, for the 5 times that they have cropped up against each other, I think that in itself, in any period of time, as I said, it's probably unrelated, other than North Shore probably playing... I don't know, but whoever the North Shore would have played in...
West Saints, I remember them playing.
Yeah, so, as I said, they would have a history there, I would think. Belpost Hill versus East Geelong, I think that's been a pretty good rival between the 2 clubs. And it's amazing even to today, you see the games that they play each other, even though they're well separated on the ladder, the games are always close for some reason. I don't know why that is. Belpost Hill, North Geelong. Also a great rival. I think you've already mentioned there was 3 games in a row where they played in finals against each other. And I suppose, as I said, Bannockburn Inverleigh, because today we're playing that game this afternoon, they haven't played too often against each other, but the rival between these 2 is unheralded. Yeah, that was, 2 years ago? 2 years ago? Can't remember now, but it wasn't that long ago. But as I said, there's been some great clubs. The only other game I did mention when I looked through Alex's list, there was a game there against St Peters, and I think they played, I don't know, it might have been Corio. The score was 160 to 120. That's 280 points in a grand final. So there's obviously in those days, they're obviously just out there playing footy, and it must have been some good condition, because that's enormous. Like, we haven't seen anything like that or resemble anything. You go back through the results, and there's nothing close. Not even both sides getting 160 points.
Not even AFL.
No.
AFL.
No.
I think 72 might have been Carlton. 28-9, 177.
Yep. Well, you know that.
22-16, 150.
Yeah.
I think was the...
Yeah, well, I just looked at those results, and I couldn't believe that was a score in current football in a grand final. I thought that was just outstanding, and I would have loved to have actually gone and seen that game, because I reckon that would have been, and I know that's not rivalry because they wouldn't have played too much against each other, but that was just a game that really stood out when you look through results back to, I think Alex provided us to 1981. So I think that's, as I said, that's just an outstanding performance for those two sides to be able to get out and produce that sort of footy.
Well, I think you've done a very, very good job, even though everything you said was irrelevant to the subject at hand.
I understand.
But it doesn't matter.
No,
As I said,